Hello and welcome all my fellow Coldplayers out there. Coldplay recently played at Glastonbury and we have a lot to talk about. So in this video, we're going to talk about it all, but real quick, I just wanted to mention it that I just released a new song, so if you're interested in checking that out, feel free to see it here. And of course, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to this channel because there's going to be a ton of Coldplay content coming soon with this new album, so you won't regret subscribing. But without further ado, let's get started. All right, so this performance lasted almost 2 hours long, including a 30-minute encore. So in this video, I just wanted to touch on some of the highlights that I saw. And really, I kind of saw this performance in 3 different sections. One is the beginning all the way up to Viva La Vida. And then there's kind of just the middle, which is a ton of new things, and then finally the encore. So starting off with the beginning, I thought it was really cool how they just incorporated a lot of their older songs. For instance, they started off with Yellow, which was super cool, and I absolutely loved that. And of course, a lot of you have probably seen that famous video of them playing Yellow at Glastonbury in 2002, so it was almost like a callback to that. They also played The Scientist and Clocks, both of which were also played at the 2002 performance, so it really was just a nice, almost tribute to their past, and they honestly sounded as great as ever, and Chris just seemed really happy and very in the moment and just excited to be there. So right off the bat, this performance was already headed in a great direction. And also just other things to note in the set in general, we saw the use of xylobands. We also saw a bunch of moons on gear, like for instance, there was moons on the drum head, and then also there was just a lot of collaborations. And of course, we'll touch more on that as we go along with this video, but I just thought it was incredible to see the diversity of the performers and just how good the collabs were. And it really just felt like a really intentional point of this performance. I mean, Coldplay has been very adamant about this message of we are all the same and we're all alone together. So it really fit this performance and felt almost like comforting to see all these acts and how well Coldplay incorporated them into this live performance. Now, one of these collaborations was done with an artist by the name of Victoria Canal. She was featured on the song Paradise, and I just think that she had such a bright presence on stage that I thought she did a fantastic job. Another feature that we saw in the first section of the show was the orchestra that played with Viva La Vida. And I thought it was really cool because they were pretty front and center on the stage as if Coldplay was really, presenting them. And so it was nice to see Coldplay sharing that light, really. Also, they played a really important part in introducing something very new in the set, including this middle section of the performance. And this middle section of the performance was arguably one of the most entertaining and fun sections of the show, including the way it started off with a new song. That's right, Coldplay performed a new song called We Pray, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And of course, going along with the theme of the set, it had some features, including little Simz, Elyanna, recorded lines from Burna Boy, and of course, this live version had the Baltic String Orchestra playing along as well. The song is heavily hip-hop inspired, including the way Chris sings on it, and overall, it just has a ton of energy, and I really think the features on the song did an incredible job. And I mean, just hearing this live version, I was already impressed, so I'm really excited to dive more into the song when it's officially released. Speaking of which, I mean, I'd say it's probably pretty likely that we'd see this song appearing as a single before the album is released. So definitely be on the lookout for potentially hearing this as a new single in maybe the next month or two. And after the premiere of We Pray, we saw yet another collaboration with Elyanna on Arabesque, and it was fantastic. The way the horns sounded, the sax solo, and even just like the ending, the way it builds and culminates to the end, it was just really good. And after Arabesque, we saw one of my favorite parts, which was Violet Hill. This performance included a choir and a lead vocalist, Laura Mvula, and was just accompanied by Johnny. So it essentially was this cover of Violet Hill that this choir was performing in the middle of a Coldplay set. But it was very laid back and chill, and this choral element just changed the song so much. And I just thought it was very unique, especially again, because we're seeing Coldplay really shine the light on these other artists, which I think is so unique and so thoughtful. Another thing that really stood out to me in this section was how they ended something just like this. Now, I didn't know what it was at the time, but they sampled Martin Garrix's Breakaway as the outro to the song, and it was phenomenal. And then for the final song, they played Sky Full of Stars, which was interesting because they had this moment where they stopped and really just talked to the crowd and said, hey, let's all live in this moment, and put the phones away, which was fine. So they finished the song, got off the stage, came back for a 30-minute encore, and the encore began with Sunrise, which in my opinion is the perfect reintroduction song. Also during this section, they brought back another oldie, Sparks, during which they gave a lot of thank yous, which was very sentimental. And they used Sparks as the time to have the moment with the firework where they say, put out all of your energy and all your love and send it out to somebody, and then they shoot the firework off. And I think this song and just everything that happened with it, with the firework, with the thank yous, kind of just really emulated what this final third of this set was. It was all very just emotional and deep and heartfelt, and just a thank you to everyone and everyone in the crowd and everyone for supporting them for these 20 plus years of playing at Glasgow. Now, after playing Sparks, they did something very unconventional and had the camera crew point at specific people in the crowd, and they essentially just improvised a song about them, which was a really cute and sweet moment, especially because Coldplay during the set mentioned something about wanting to thank everyone and wanted to be one-on-one with everyone, but they don't have that opportunity, obviously, so implementing this was just a cool way of doing that. But eventually the camera made its way to the creator of Glastonbury, which was really cool to see, and then it went over to Michael J. Fox. And this whole thing with Michael J. Fox was super thoughtful and super kind. How they included him in the set, he got to play Humankind and Fix You, and it was just a very touching moment, especially when Chris directly said that he's been a hero to them. I also thought it was so cool how during Humankind they brought like everyone on stage. Humankind was one of my favorites from Mott's, and it's just such a feel-good song, so when everyone came on stage, it just felt right. And the last thing that really stood out to me about this performance was a moment during Fix You. You saw, for just a few seconds, you saw the camera point to each member in the band, and you kind of just saw them looking out to the crowd, and it was as if they were really taking in this moment and realizing how many people were there and how many people they've affected and how many people were just singing along and feeling what they were feeling. And it was just a very special moment, a moment that I think really spoke to who Coldplay is. A band who doesn't ask for much but gives so much, you know? So yeah, I think this performance in general was honestly one of my favorites that I've seen in a long time. And I think the way they structured it in these 3 different sections, where the first was about, you know, who Coldplay has been, the middle section was who Coldplay is now, and then the final section was more about their legacy in a way. I think it just really speaks volumes about who Coldplay really is. And the performance just felt so loving and so empathetic, and I really enjoyed that. And that, my wonderful friends, is everything I really wanted to go over in this video. Now, if you had a favorite moment in this set, definitely let me know in the comments. I also want to hear your thoughts on the new song, as well as where you think this performance ranks compared to other Glasgow performances. And again, if you haven't done so yet, definitely subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a ton, but also helps you keep informed about everything Coldplay. If you liked this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you want to hear my new song, check it out right here. But thank you so much for watching till the very end here. I appreciate you and can't wait to see you again in the next video. Until then, peace.